Please identify yourselves and the agency that you are with. There will be no opening comment. We'll just roll straight into Q&A. So who in the room here in Uptown Charlotte would like the first question of the Seminole? Coach, seeing none in the room, I will ask it from the podium. With the retirement of Coach Williams and with Coach K's retirement on the way, given Florida State's tenure in the conference, you're about to become the older statesman. It's sort of an open-ended comment. It's not really a question.
Well, there's no doubt that those two guys have been the pillars of our league. They are icons. We're going to really miss them. Not only what they brought to us, the conference on the court, I thought their leadership and legislations and the respect that they brought to the game of basketball would be missed. But because they're such a rich tradition of successful programs, I expect the guys that are replacing them, could not have been selected better. I expect Schuyler and Davis to step right in and keep the beat going. They have probably two of the most successful programs in the history of college basketball, and the tradition and the support and the legacy that the school has built for itself. I'm sure that even though they'll miss them, you expect them to maintain their rightful place in the hierarchy of basketball programs around the country. We'll
go straight ahead in the fourth row. Gentleman getting ready to raise his hand.
Coach Hamilton, hey, how you doing? JB Ricks here from Spectrum News 1. I just want to know from your perspective as far as your program, where do you feel it is, from a national perspective, and are you seeing that on the recruiting trails as far as the respect you're getting, outside of the region?
We don't really worry that much about respect. Respect is something that you earn, and when you're in a conference with the rich tradition like the ACC, programs have 70 and 80 years of successful traditional exposure, like the programs in our league have enjoyed over the years. It's very difficult for us to expect to make up the ground from 75 or 80 years of success. So that's why we called ourselves the New Bloods. And our players said, we're not going anywhere. So maybe we're not as well known, maybe. I really don't know, because we don't try to measure ourselves. We just try to represent who we are now, and we're not worrying about the respect. When you look at the things we've been able to do at Florida State, I think that it requires you to at least take notice. We've won 25 straight home games in the ACC. The next game we win at home, we'll tie the all-time winningest home record in the history of the ACC. We lost 4 games in 5 years at home. We won 11 straight overtime games. We've been to 3 straight 16s. So I think we're carving out our own niche. So we're not going to try to compare ourselves with those programs of the past. We're just trying to represent ourselves right now, and sooner or later, whatever is to come our way will come our way.
Team first row right in front of you.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, these last 18 months, the transfer portal, being able to play right away, as well as NIL, a pandemic, how have you navigated the 18 months, and what have you seen out of your team and out of, Tallahassee in general, the community, as you try to build together on the court and off the court through a very unique time?
Well, you're talking about two different things. The rules that govern college basketball is what they are. So we have to make whatever adjustments that's necessary. There's one thing good about college basketball. You have a lot of great high school players, a lot of athletes, a lot of kids to choose from. So you have to work harder evaluating and finding the niche, those youngsters who find who we are appealing. Now, as far as the NIL, the portal, the overtime, the one and dones, the transfer that you can and be eligible immediately, that's just part of the new landscape of college basketball, and you have to find a way to adjust. We're not going to change the rules. It's just the way it is. And what we try to do is just be observant, be who we are, worry about that which we can control, and move on. And our guys are focused. We try not to clutter their minds with a lot of the challenges. We just feel that if we just stay focused on us and be the best we can be, everything else will fall in place.
Team, we're going to go to the very back to the right in front of the tripods.
Coach Will Pelagic from WFNZ in Charlotte. A little bit of a similar question, but how impressed are you that you guys were able to navigate the challenges of last year so well, finish tied for first in the conference, and how much does that help you going into this year?
I'm so proud of the discipline that our players displayed last year. We had a couple of what you call false positives that created a little bit of an issue. It wasn't their doing; it was just some laboratory misreads. And that caused us some problems. And we had another youngster that had COVID from the summer, and he tested before his 90 days were up, and that created a problem. But these guys were just fabulous. And I look back at being 19, 20 years old, and then I'm confined to my room. I'm taking all my classes online. I'm not going out. I'm not being a regular student. And I'm confined, dealing with my guys all year, just, confined to each other. That was somewhat challenging. When I look back, that would have been very difficult for me. So our guys came through with flying colors to show a lot about why we've been as successful as we've been over the years. Our kids are graduating, staying focused. We're doing the things necessary. Our culture supersedes any stresses and pressures that I think these guys have been able to have endured over the years, especially last year. So I'm proud of them. I think we were in a good place, and I hope that level of discipline and focus carries over into this season, and hopefully we can, now that we have a little more freedom to be somewhat normal, hopefully that will give us even a greater encouragement to go out and have another good year.
A question for our left side, and I've lost sight on which. There we go. Thank you.
Hey, David Thompson, USA Today Network. How are you doing, Coach? I wanted to ask you just a little bit more about Coach K and the closeness of the relationship maybe you have with him, and if there's any kind of special moments over the years that you guys have shared.
Well, Coach K has been such a icon, such an unselfish person in the way that he's given of himself for the good of the game of basketball. All the committees he's been on, and when we've been successful against him, which is, to be honest with you, haven't been that much, he's always been gracious and encouraging and complimentary of our team and our program. I can't say enough about the relationship that we've been able to establish. I think he's been just so good for not only for us personally in the ACC, but he's been good for basketball. And I hope that he finds a way to stay in the game, because he's definitely a guy who makes a difference in how basketball is looked around the world. The fact that he's been able to be as successful as he has been in the ACC, and then go right to dealing with the NBA players and be as successful with them, speaks for itself. He's a true legend, and we're going to miss him in the ACC, but if I know him, he'll always keep his hand in basketball.
Back to Dan in the front row.
Anthony and Malik, just what you can say about Coach Hamilton and what he's done with this team, and how Florida State has evolved to have your own piece of the pie, so to speak.
I'll go first. I mean, kind of when I first came in, I kind of saw like the change towards the basketball culture. When I first came in, we became the new bloods, but I just saw the difference of emphasis that Coach Ham had on the team as opposed to a lot of other coaches that I'd done, experienced, or viewed. He really focused on just the chemistry, the connectivity of the players, open relationship, being transparent. So that's what really made it different for me, I would say, as a player coming in. It usually is like kind of like a business relationship from what I've seen in the past, where people are like employees on the court, and then off the court they're their own people. But the culture that Coach Ham has established it's like a family, it's a brotherhood, and it makes us play harder for each other, play for him. It makes us play for a different purpose, which I think has always been the catalyst for us making long runs in the postseason or having like stretches within conference where we go on like a decent winning streak. So I would say Coach Ham has done a great job with just changing the culture and just emphasizing the right things, bringing in the right people, and having the right staff on board to just create an entire family as opposed to just a team.
Yeah, I believe the same. I mean, when I came on my visit, I thought that the environment of the team was just like a family, and that made it super easy way to make my choice. The way that we are just around each other, not just on the basketball court, but off the court, we're super close, and it makes everything a lot easier to just play on the court and just play off each other. I believe Coach Ham and the coaching staff does a great job of looking for guys and making sure that that chemistry is great. And I believe that that's what's been making a difference in these past couple of years.
Malik, from the podium, Florida State has won 11 straight overtime games. What gives? What's special about those 5 minutes that seems like Florida State's always going to come out on top?
I mean, that question kind of ties into really what we had just answered recently, but like it really is just the chemistry, just the will to fight for your brother, knowing that times are hard, and you know we have so many team activities. Me and the guys, we hang out all the time off the court, and that's what really kind of allows us to build that trust, not only just amongst each other, but just how our systems are. They're really predicated on trust, and allows us to just break through that adversity. We know that we prepare ourselves mentally and physically for these overtime situations because we know the competition in the ACC. We know that winning by 2 or 3 points, according to Coach Ham, is an ACC blowout. So we know that every game is going to be tight, every game is going to be competitive, and so we mentally prepare ourselves. But just being able to be so connected off the court as well on the court allows us to just trust each other and push through that adversity in overtime and come out successful.
Florida State, thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, NC State is due up in the room. I have them at